Yeah.
Okay. So what happened about your court thing?
I don't know. I don't know at the moment.
All right. So you haven't.
I went there. No, I went there to inquire about it, and apparently I've missed the date, but I didn't know about it, and it wasn't my fault.
No.
Not my fault. Apparently, what they're saying is an email is deemed service, even if it's from a solicitor and not a court. I don't think that's true. But they said it's deemed service because you've received it, but it was sent on the 27th, and the date was the 29th. But I don't think that is right. It's only deemed service if it comes from a court. You can't. The solicitor can't just write rubbish about you and call that deemed service and drag you to court without any notice. That's very, very wrong. So that's something I need to challenge. And I'm going to put that in my email to the court. There's been no deemed service from the court, from them to me. A solicitor cannot be allowed to write false things about you and call that deemed service.
Oh, yeah.
It makes me serious. Right. It really does. It's given me a headache. I can't get rid of this headache. I just don't feel very well.
No, that's right.
It's such a violation of your rights, your freedoms. I feel I'm constantly being persecuted. They don't let me get on with anything I need to do. They're constantly at me all the time, stopping me from doing things, being violent and aggressive. Yeah. And if I was to make a complaint, they would retaliate. So it's very awkward. And I'm having to deal with loads of things. So I'm just trying to make a list and go through it one by one.
Yeah.
Do the fence, but I don't think it's wise to do it today.
No. Okay, I'll catch you a bit later and let us know if you need a hand with anything.
Okay, all right, yeah, thanks. Because I've got to go back to the courthouse. She said go back there next week.
Yeah.
To find out what has gone on. It's got to be before 2. It's got to be between 10 and 2, really.
Yeah.
Probably the best time, I suppose, would be about 1:30 when it's probably quieter in there.
Yeah, okay.
So maybe it's best I go with you to do that, because the other person that went, they're like a mosquito. They keep butting in, undermining me, and they keep cutting across with things that aren't true, and it's just a constant nuisance,
Yeah.
They won't stick to the facts. They won't stick to the facts and what's true. They're just constantly... I mean, they weren't so bad in the court, but in the solicitors, they were just constantly undermining. And I had a chance to look at much of that case, the Henry Novak case at the moment, the body worn. Have you looked at it?
Not really. I've only seen what's on the news about it and not looked at anything online, but I think there's loads of stuff online about it.
The way they've treated him is absolutely outrageous.
Oh, it is, yeah. But it was a big mistake on their part, wasn't it? I mean, they believed the other guys were telling the truth, so therefore they arrested the man on the ground without really checking him over.
But they manhandled him, and they totally they were violent, pulling him about and dragging him and forcing him it's really bad. And
I didn't actually see that much of it, but I mean, I know that they handcuffed him obviously, before they realised he was stabbed, and
well, they were told he was. They were told he was bleeding from the mouth and that, and he kept saying he was stabbed. He kept saying to them, "I've been stabbed. I've been stabbed." But there's another case. There's another story that's come out about a lady who was harassed by the police. She was followed. She was arrested, wrongful arrest in COVID, and then there was footage of it that she had, and then she had to leave. They were persecuting her. They wanted the footage, a bit like what they did to me. Then what they did was they persecuted her, tracked her down, burst her car tyres, and then violently arrested her again, dragging her, putting her face in the stinging nettles. just so they could get her footage, and it was on the BBC. The BBC have covered it. Because the police don't want to be named and shamed as to having done that to her. I mean, this is what they do. Imagine if you rape somebody in a cell and it's recorded on the CCTV and the person lives to tell the tale and they speak about it. They will just destroy the footage and they will track you down so you can't speak about it. I mean, they threatened to kill me in there. They said, you know, we're going to help you commit suicide and do what we want. They were disgusting, absolutely disgusting. And there should be laws that govern, that they should have an independent technology company that films it, so it's not controlled by them. Because if they do kill you and call it suicide, they can't be in control of that footage. It should be done by an independent body. Because it's not fair. They totally violate the rights, like abducting you without reason. They had no reason to abduct me like that. I had done nothing wrong. No reason. It was total violation. And they reckon they can do it again. They reckon they're allowed to just take anyone if they feel like it. And that's disgusting. And it's made me very angry. I think that's probably what a lot of my headache is. I just feel very angry. You know, they can just decide to just wipe you out if they feel like it. It's not right. You know.
Right, I better go.
Yes, so today is the 6th of June 2026. It's very wet and windy outside, very stormy again today. And yes, that is true. The solicitors, there's a conflict of interest for a start, aside from the fact that allegedly the receptionist at the court was saying that it's deemed service if the solicitors sent a hearing date, even though the email's defamation, it's libelous, the victim has done nothing wrong. So apparently it's deemed service, which I can't agree with actually, because it should come from a court. The email should be based in fact, and why should you have to defend yourself? If the situation is dangerous and in defending yourself that defence gets shared back to them, they retaliate, they damage your property, they're violent to you, then there has to be adequate safeguarding in place before the victim can make a response. So that would be a direct email to the judge involved, if there is one, because the receptionist said she cannot locate a file and there's no order been made. When I spoke to her last week, there's no order been made, and even though I've missed the hearing date, which I didn't know about, I wasn't deemed served, and there's no address to be deemed served at, because my housing rights have been violated. You know, there's no safeguarding. So what do you do in those circumstances when the legal system is ring-fenced, when there's multiple conflicts of interest? The MP, council leader, that solicitors in particular isn't the solicitors of it's not their normal solicitors that they've used for years and years. The solicitor they had for years and years was Wilson Wakefield, who was council leader in COVID, who committed multiple malpractices, misconduct against me. So they've got a different solicitors, but there's a conflict of interest, because that solicitor that sent the email, not only is the email based in libelous defamation, it's used to deflect what they have done. It's intimidation, it's harassment, it's stalking. It's illegal. They shouldn't be allowed to do it. It's a violation. It stops you from working. But that solicitors advised me in COVID. They said that my husband, my former husband now, he committed divorce fraud in COVID. They committed divorce fraud. They divorced me behind closed doors without my input, based on false allegations that when I found out, I submitted information that they ignored directly to the court. They ignored it. They ignored everything, even beyond reasonable doubt evidence that he was abusing the children. There was incest. He was violent, apathy, very toxic lifestyle, drugs, alcohol, and I wasn't living with them, I wasn't living in the house. Even though they purchased an occupation order, they bought one, I was forced to live not in the house because of his toxicity and his agenda that I wasn't going to survive by some illusion. So having gone through all of that, I am the victim. I was abducted by the police very, very violently and horrifically based on defamation. No evidence, no grounds. It was to defamate my character, which the police knew my character. I'm a qualified angelic therapist, and I'm homeopathic. I'm a lay practitioner, and I've practiced homeopathy and used homeopathy for many years. I'm a vaccine fatality NDE survivor, where I died and I was born again, and that was all covered up. So I've been through a lot. That was a tumour, and it's not normally survivable. The way I was treated in hospital was horrific, but that was all suppressed. I wasn't allowed to talk about it. So there's been multiple assaults and many legal malpractices, and you end up becoming buried under it, just fighting all the time, fighting for your rights, fighting everything off. There's utility fraud, and that the MP and the council leader are behind that as well. There's water stopcock fraud, total illegal malpractices. It's just such a heavy case. Where do you start? And when they're using libelous to deflect, not deemed serving you, having hearing dates without you knowing, and then incarcerating you, and the police saying they can abduct you whenever they feel like it and be violent if they feel they need to or want to. They don't need to because there's no reason, but they can, they said, if they feel like it. If they feel angry because you're a threat to their apathy. You are a threat to their apathy by being an angelic being who's done nothing wrong. And, the tyranny, it creates far right, but I'm not far right. I'm an integrated person with very high values and morals. But the pressure that builds up when they stop you from working, stop you from being practical, stop you from your everyday life, they make you ill. I'm disfigured because of what the police have done, what the legal system has done, what my husband has done. I'm disfigured, and I've got a disability because of it. Will I ever recover from that? I don't think I will. So you end up fighting for your rights and defending yourself the whole time. But they say they can just abduct you if they want to, and they will incarcerate you behind closed doors. And if you're not well enough to open your emails, or if you've got to go and attend to day-to-day things, safeguard your property or do whatever you need to do in the day, and you don't receive the email, and because it's not sent until a day and a half before you're supposed to attend. I mean, what kind of a system do we live in? It's like when I was evicted from my owned home, when my name was signed off my house deeds. I got an email from Wilson Wakefield Solicitors, from Michael Wilson, who is the most evil person. He sent that email. I opened it. It was sent 24 hours before the eviction date, by an alleged court order, but had no seal. It was from him personally, and that was with 12 hours notice. I opened it up in the morning. It was received the night before, sent the night before, but I opened it in the morning, and I opened it and I shook. I had 12 hours to vacate or I'd be arrested from my own house that I owned, that I had created with my bare hands. I did the work over the years, as I had in all my homes, and my husband had committed terrible offences throughout the COVID, and since he decided to have a different partner in his life, they concocted an agenda to erase me from reality. Him and his mother and others, and his solicitor was in on it, and they created these strategies. And I couldn't be there, I had to leave. Good cop, bad cop, I was in the firing line, so it was advised that, you know, he's a very dangerous man, let the police deal with him. So I left so that they could deal with him, but they didn't. They basically collaborated with him in it. And so really the point is that the point that's come up today is that if they can arrest you, if they can abduct you and put you in a cell, police rape females in cells, then they kill them, then they destroy the footage. How do I know that? Because I've seen the look on their faces, the evil in their eyes, the way they said to me, would you like us to help you commit suicide yet? Unless you do what we say. And keep trying to coerce me to have a cold shower. Have a cold shower, go on, have a cold shower, goading me. And you have to use the toilet while you're being filmed. You have to have a shower while you're being filmed. And they kept all the time, are you ready to commit suicide yet? Do you want us to help you commit suicide yet? And you need to do exactly what we say. And it was just constant threats. I didn't think I would get out of there alive. How many females have they raped and murdered in cells and destroyed the footage and said that they committed suicide? MPs are involved, backhanders, they pay the coroner. This happens. I know that death certificates can be falsified because that's happened in my family history. Death certificates have been falsified. They would have done the same with me in COVID, which is why I had to survive, because they would have had me down as COVID related when it would have been murder. It was murder. I was murdered. And I survived. I was murdered in 2015, I survived. How I survived, I don't know. How I survived the vaccine fatality, I don't know. I lost 6 litres of blood. It's in my medical file. And it was non-survivable. So this is where we need an independent technology company so the police don't own and manage their own footage. We need independent parties to work with the police so that they can attend. If the police can't be reformed, if Starmer's going to refuse to reform the high ranks, to get rid of all the high ranks and put non-political ones in, so they can reform the lower ranks and hold the murderers to justice in the police force. If they're going to refuse to do that, then they need independent bodies to come in and they need to film independently. The CCTV in police custody centres needs to be independent from the police, so that when the police rape females or murder the innocent in there and destroy the footage, when body-worn camera footage is destroyed, because often it is destroyed in many cases, then that's where we need an independent body, so that if a female or anyone is violently abducted at will for doing nothing wrong at all, just because they're a threat to their system, a threat to their apathy because they're the innocent party, they're a threat to the MP. They haven't been who they needed them to be for their script. They've been innocent, as they always were. An innocent healer following and abiding by the Hippocratic Oath. And these people are disgusting, evil menaces to society. And if they're not going to be taken out of their jobs and held to account and put behind bars for the rest of their lives, then independent bodies should work with them to film and account on their behalf, because they are incapable of even accounting for what's happened, let alone filming it and managing their own footage. They can't conduct themselves as human beings. They're not responsible. They are callous. Callous. And I am not the only person to have witnessed this firsthand. I've seen children violently arrested till their wrists bleed. That is very, very wrong. When they've been set up deliberately by the MP, the council leader and their father. Deliberately set up. Staged. Set up. Child backed into a corner, done nothing wrong. The adults were accountable. The police refusing statements, only accepting statements against the victims. It's absolutely disgusting, and this is the truth. This goes on. This is my testimony. and it should be mandatory, and it should come into force today, that there should be independent CCTV in police custody centres and with the police, and that deemed service is done by the court with evidence, with grounds, actual evidence that the victim can respond to with adequate time. Now I've expressed myself, now my headache has eased, the pressure in my head has released a little bit. And this is why people get brain tumours and things, because the pressure doesn't release. They have to keep being a victim, persecuted, silenced, suppressed, oppressed, repressed, under tyranny, under apathy, under evil perverts. It needs to come out.